Welcome to Sinful's Horror Stories. If you're new to the channel, please be sure to subscribe now for future scary stories. And if you're a fan of this video, please help the YouTube algorithm recommend my video to more people by liking it. Please leave a thumbs up as it helps me greatly. Tonight's stories were submitted by viewers just like you. Sit back, relax, enjoy, and stay sinful. One night around 2 a.m., I was up using the bathroom, and as I walked down my hallway, I glanced out a window near the front of my house. Before my brain registered what I had seen, I heard a pounding on my front door. My house is located in a very rural area, and my closest neighbor is about a football field in length away from me. So if anything nefarious was going on, no one would hear my screams. Ha 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 ha. Anyway, I creep as slowly and as quietly as I can to the front door and look out of my peephole. I see a very small and gaunt-looking woman, I presume in old tattered clothes. She is now slowly scratching at my door like a cat would, trying to get inside. I slowly pull open one of the blinds on the window closest to the front door and see two men hiding in my large hedge. I decide to grab my .357 and I ask the woman what she wants. No sound for the next 5 seconds. Then she responds with, "I want inside your house. I want inside your house now." I answer, gun in hand, "You need to leave or I will call the police," and I'm armed and not afraid to defend myself. I hear two deep bellowing laughs coming from outside the front door. One deep voice then says, "Ha ha ha ha, he's armed? Well, so am I." I then hear a knock on a window from inside my kitchen, and then another on the back door of my house near the garage. I decide to call 911 and let officers know what is taking place. I hear a window break in the kitchen, and I run to the kitchen. I see a man trying to climb in my window. I draw on him and fire a shot right past his head that hits the wall about 3 inches from him. The man gasps and decides to pull himself quickly back out of the window, but not before slicing his right leg open on a huge piece of glass. I hear another man yell, "Let's get the fuck out of here now." I look out the broken window and see this disheveled-looking lady sprinting away with a huge kitchen knife. The evil three amigos hopped into a large, older cargo van and were then driven away in a cloud of old smoky exhaust. By the time these would-be robbers or murderers were gone, a single police car with one officer arrived. I thought to myself, wow, one cop, thanks for the reinforcements. The officer takes my statement and alludes to the fact that there have been multiple break-ins in the past month in my county. The officer says that the woman is the ruse to play on people's emotions, hoping someone will open the door. A home less than 3 miles from my place was broken into last week, and the husband and his wife were stabbed to death. Long story short, I guess my number wasn't up that night. Who knows what tomorrow will bring? Thanks for listening, my friends. And how about our guy Sinful? Ha ha ha, shameless plug. I went to my mailbox late one night after work. I glanced at my watch and the time was now 11:15 p.m. My mailbox is in the middle of our neighborhood, along with 20 other residents on my street. The house directly across from the mailbox is an old Victorian-style home, and there was a lamp dimly lit in the 3rd-story window. The curtains were the old-school cream-colored white that were somewhat see-through. As I grabbed my mail, glanced it over, I noticed a figure quickly dart past the window. I looked away and then glanced back up, and the person or thing was now peeking around the curtain staring at me. My blood ran cold when I heard a whisper right in my ear. "Go away and leave us alone." What the actual hell? I looked behind me in a split second. No one was there. I scanned the entire street up and down, top to bottom, and no one was out of their homes at this hour. The neighborhood was eerily quiet. My hair stood on end and goosebumps ensued. I locked my mailbox and started running back to my house, a few houses down. I feel like something demonic or supernatural has taken over that nearly 100-year-old home, and apparently visitors are not welcome. Even people simply getting their postage late one eve. I live in a not-so-great area in Cleveland, Ohio. This story happened to me about 3 weeks ago when I was homebound from work because I was sick. I was sitting in my kitchen eating cereal when I noticed a black van parked opposite the street of my house. There were like 3 people in it, but I just assumed it had something to do with one of my neighbors. I keep my house deadbolted anyways, and have a gun and an alarm system. I was watching YouTube on my phone when it rang with an unknown number. I picked it up, asking who it was, and it was a woman. She asked, "Is this blank?" I said yes, and she kept talking, telling me that the girlfriend's name was in a bad car crash and severely injured. She told me I needed to come as quickly as possible, as I may not have a lot of time left. After hearing that, I sort of became manic. I grabbed my car keys and wallet and ran to my car, started to drive to the hospital. I got halfway down the street when I realized I didn't even know what hospital, so I tried calling the number again, but they didn't pick up. I copy and pasted the number into Google, and a hospital didn't come up. Just a bunch of random shit. I tried calling my girlfriend's number. She picked up immediately. It's embarrassing, but I was crying, and I asked her what happened and if she was okay. She said she was fine, and when I mentioned the hospital, she had no idea what I was talking about. I was really confused and couldn't really process what was happening, but I turned around and went home. When I got in view of my house, I saw the black van parked backwards into my driveway. It wasn't fully clicking in my dumbass brain what was happening, but I knew well enough they had no reason to be in my driveway. When I drove over there was only one guy in the car now. They were all wearing beanies and face masks, so it was hard to actually see what they looked like besides their eyes. When they saw me pull up next to the van, the 2 started running back over to my car, and we all started having a shouting match. It was basically me screaming, "What are you doing parked in my driveway?" and them telling me to shut up. We kept doing that when one of them flashed a pistol at me and threatened to shoot me. As soon as I saw the gun, I lowered my gas pedal and fumbled to dial 911 as I drove. I could see them pulling out in my rear view, driving the opposite direction out of my neighborhood. The police still came, and I gave them a description of the van and the clothes they were wearing. I also managed to memorize like half of their plate, but I doubt they were real plates anyways. I had so much adrenaline pumping through my body, I was shaking. I filed a report with them, but haven't heard back since. It's just kind of the way it is around here, sadly. Either way, I was really startled because not only did they know where I lived, but obviously they were the caller, and somehow they knew my name, my girlfriend's name, and that I was home from work. The shit that scared the hell out of me, and now I have a Ring doorbell system. I also triple check my doors are locked every time I leave the house. I pray to God some shit like that never happens to me again, because it was horrible. And to those people who tried robbing my house and threatened to kill me, let's never meet again. This happened to me in 2010. I was a college student at a school in a large city, which unfortunately wasn't in the best part of town. At the time, I was living in an off-campus apartment that didn't have dedicated parking spots, so I always tried to park my car along either side of the building under a street light. However, on this particular day, I was only able to get a spot on the street behind the building. Around midnight, I left my apartment to drive to my then boyfriend's house in another part of the city. He was a musician and was just getting home from a gig, hence the late night meetup. I hated being outside in the city alone at night, but I haven't seen my boyfriend in a while, and I thought I could quickly make it to my car without issue. To get from my apartment to my car, I had to walk out the front door of my building, turn the corner, walk alongside the building, and turn down the back street where my car was parked. All in all, this should have not taken more than a couple of minutes. As I turn the corner to walk alongside my apartment building, I see a man walking directly towards me. He immediately starts calling out and saying, "Hey, hey," but he's far enough up the street that I think I can make it to my car before he gets to me. I quicken my pace and so does he. He keeps calling out to me and saying, "Hey, can you help me? I'm homeless and need to get home." Obviously that made no sense, and the closer he got, the more I could tell that he was drunk, on drugs, or both. He was getting closer and closer to me, all the while calling out to me and asking for money to get home, when I suddenly realized that I couldn't make it to my car before he would make it to me. So, I stopped dead in my tracks underneath the streetlight on the side of the building. I always walked with my keys in my hand, so I would never be stuck digging around for them at an inopportune time, much like this one. And, thanks to my mom making sure I was always safe in the city, my keys were complete with a keychain of mace. By this time, the guy was a foot away from me, aggressively asking for money and telling me he needed to get home. I picked up my mace, and in that moment the street light shone on it perfectly, so the creep saw it and backed away. To this day, I swear I had a guardian angel watching over me. This guy could have grabbed me, snatched my purse, or gotten violent, yet the mere sight of my mace was thankfully enough to spook him away. He quickly walked past me down the street, and I sprinted to my car and sped away, completely shaking. Needless to say, I never, ever walked to my car alone at night again. This happened to me in high school when I was in 11th grade. I was 16 years old. The street I lived in was in New York City, and it was a pretty small street, so you can hear anything that happens at each end of the street. You can hear kids laughing, kids falling from bikes, etc. This is an important detail for the story. Another important detail is the house I lived in only had one front entrance. The front entrance had two doors, a screen door, and a wooden door. Both had locks, so no one could just open the screen door unless they had a key. I note this due to all the videos I watched online of people just yanking screen doors open. I was living alone for a month and it was pretty fun and mundane. My parents were living in California at that time due to work. One day while I was on my computer doing something, there were these strong knocks on the screened front door. I left my room and approached the front wooden door cautiously. I'm an easily anxious person, and it does not help that I kept watching crime docs on Netflix. The person on the other side of the door knocked on my screen door again. I peered through the peephole of the wooden door and could see this white, middle-aged man just standing there, moving his head side to side, and his body was doing those jumpy movements that people do when they're standing and waiting. I decided to open the wooden door a little, thinking the screen front door was going to protect me anyway, and asked him what was wrong. The guy instantly responded, "There's been a car crash. Please come out here and help me. A kid that was riding the bike was run over." I asked, "Where's the car crash?" The guy responded, "Down the street and over there." He pointed to one end of the street. Remember how I said the street was small and I could hear anything, even a kid falling from his bike? So I sure as hell could have been able to hear a car crash. The second he said that, my guard immediately went up and I was quite scared. I was also pissed off for some reason. "Call 911. I don't know why you're coming to me," but I told him, "Call 911. The guy pushed on with what he was saying before and asked me to come out to see the car crash with him and to see if there's anything we could do to help. I remember saying, "Call 911. They'll be able to handle this much better than I can." I then closed the wooden door and locked it. If you're wondering, I didn't call 911. I just went to my room and watched YouTube videos. I know, weird thing to do, but I was just trying to calm myself down because at that point my heart was beating so fast. I kept looking at the time. I forgot what specific time it was, but I remember it being in the afternoon. The sky was bright blue at least. I waited for a few hours when I was sure the guy would be gone. I went back to the front entrance and opened the wooden door, made sure no one was there, and opened the screen door to see the car crash. Why did I do this? I wanted to truly make sure that there was no car crash. I know I said I would have heard it, but I wanted to make sure I wasn't ignoring an actual thing that just happened. There was nothing out there. No kid and no crashed car. Just the usual street that I'm used to seeing. At that time, I felt a sense of relief. It's only a few years later when I thought about this moment again and realized that guy may have had some malicious intention for me. Good thing I kept myself level-headed and realized there's no way there could have been a crash without me hearing it. God knows what would have happened. Thank you guys for watching and listening to the very end. Make sure to leave a like on the video like I said earlier. And if you want your story featured on an upcoming video, email me at thesinfulsavant@gmail.com. I will leave a link to my email in the description box below. Until we meet again, my sinful friends, stay safe and stay sinful.